And today is Saturday and it's 12, it's noon in California. And you're probably thinking, what do I have here? You remember I told you that I have this huge Matryoska doll, huge Matryoska doll. It's over here. And if we're going to measure it, I was reading lots of research material that Matryoshkas, they're this big. But this one I have here, the measuring tape. Let's see. So this one is a little bit shy of a record. And so if we measure it in inches, it's 17 inches. And if we measure it in centimeters, it's 45 centimeters. And I told you that my Matryoshka is very, very special because, so this is 17-inch doll. It has 25 babies inside of it. And the last baby, this is the last one. And it also has some drawing on it. Let me show. So it has face and it has the theme. So the first doll is this one, 17-inch. And I told you it's this is gold, and then it's they were burning over the wood. And look at those wonderful eyelashes. Every doll has a face, and they have a Russian fairy tale theme. This one is the fairy tale by Alexander Pushkin, is the fairy tale about Tsar Saltan, and it's a very interesting fairy tale. I will be reading today a little bit in English. It's a good translation of that fairy tale. And then we go the smaller one. Look how they compare together. It's if you see this one and the next one is significantly smaller right away, but it also goes, they are open like this, and it's a nesting doll, so one goes into another one. What is the story about these Matryoshka dolls? Matryoshka dolls were created, well, now we know that it's a staple mark, like for the, if we talk Russia, then we talk borscht, we talk babushka, not babushka, and Matryoshka. Matryoshka doll first was made at the end of the 19th century. Let's see how we say it. Matryoshka, and we have letter yo over here. Letter yo is always attracts the stress. That's why our stress is going to be on Matryoshka, Matryoshka. And this is the transcript. Matryoshka, Matryoshka, Matryoshka. And so it's from the Greek matriarch, Matrona. And I think in the nutshell, it's kind of maternity, fertility symbol, connection between the generations, because this was the sheep doll, the mother sheep doll carries all the babies inside, and even the smallest one is just the favorite baby in the family. And again, if we got, it's 25 dolls inside of it. Every doll has its own theme and the fairy tale. Okay, and it's a little bit like this. This, you see, it's a prince and a princess. They kneel in front of the Tsar, their father, asking for blessing in marriage. This is, I hope you can all see that. And again, lots of gold paint and beautiful wood burning techniques. And then if we go 25 of those, And if we counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, the 12th one that has only half, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 21, 22, 23. I think I counted one more. 24. So yeah, 24, 25. And again, the smallest one, and this, look at this. The next one to the smallest one, it's not a large one, but you can open it. See, you open it, and it has that nest for the last doll. That's the attention to detail and craftsmanship. See, and this doll has face. It has face, and it has a theme. And so this one also, this is the sun standing in front of the Tsar. The Tsar is not very good. I don't remember, I don't know. Some tales, some fairy tales, I am not able to identify, but they all pertain to Russian history. This is, if this, you can see, this is Russian stove that made out of brick, and it was centerpiece in the kitchen in the Russian house. And since it was a huge stove, brick stove, there was a place where you can lay down on it, and it's always warm. You can sleep on it, and you can stay on. And here, that's your cooking place. That's where you cook. And one of the Russian fairy tales, it's about this guy. His name is Emelia. He went to fish, and he he caught a pike fish, and that fish was able to make his wishes. And he was kind of lazy. He didn't want to go anywhere. And he said, I want to have rides on this stove. So make this stove as my vehicle. And that stove became his vehicle. He was going everywhere riding that brick stove. And everywhere we have here we have a guy who, it's about the wondrous peacock bird. He caught this feather out of its tail because that someone was stealing wheat out the fields of this Tsar, and he didn't know, they didn't know who was doing that. So this is the bird, the bird of paradise fairy tale. Here is a lady is sitting, and here is the crib, and she is singing a song to a little baby in the crib. It's just an amazing craftsmanship. Every time, I don't undo this very often, but when I do, it just never, it keeps surprising me because I keep finding more and more details of this doll. And then we go in, this also, it's a Russian story about, look, this is technically a little horsey who had hunches. I mean, who had those very, very little, and he was the hunch, that I think is the hunch horse, the little hunch horse, and this is the guy. So, and here, of course, he is the divine beast. He is divine beast. He could fly. He was carrying this guy over in the skies, and they were doing all kind of wonderful things. And here, when the Tsar sentenced him to death through boiling in the hot water, in the boiling water, he jumps in that boiling water. That little horsey, um, he throws a flower into this boiling water, and this guy gets out of the water rejuvenated and looking even better than ever. And of course, that Tsar wanted to repeat the trick, thinking that now he's an old guy, he'll jump into the boiling water and he will be young again and he'll marry his princess. And of course, he boiled. The Russian tales. I mean, the fairy tales, when we think about those, especially medieval fairy tales, they're quite horror stories. But this one was written in the 19th century. 19th century. So that's about Konек Горбуняк. And this probably you all recognize it also by Alexander Pushkin. This is The Old Man and the Golden Fish, and The Old Man and the Golden Fish. And remember I told you about the guy who caught a pike in the lake. That is different. This is different fish, but this fish also granted wishes. And what else? And here we just have little pieces, little illustrations for all those fairy tales. So Alexander Pushkin, do you know who Alexander Pushkin is? Who is that Alexander Pushkin? He is the greatest poet in Russian literature. Actually, he was born in 1799 and he died in 1837. Only 38 years, 37 technically he lived, but he's considered to be the founder of the modern Russian language and Russian literature as we came to know it. And he is a poet first and foremost. And every Russian growing up learning all those poems. And he has a novel, one novel, Eugene Onegin, and that novel also it's as a poem, and it's very difficult to translate it into foreign languages because it's a poetry, and you really have to be able to obey all the poetic rules to all those rhythm and size and go into that. And it was very difficult to do. I think Nabokov, who was also Russian, he attempted to do a translation. He actually translated, and there are maybe 7 other translations into English of Eugene Onegin, but most of the translators, they gave up and they translated it as the novel without any rhyming because it was that difficult to do. And I can attest to you because I do translations, and you have to be very skilled and very talented and gifted to attempt to translate that type of literary work. Evgeny Onegin. But Evgeny in Russian is Eugene. So, and I mean in English, and it's Eugene Onegin. And actually, Ralph Fiennes, he made a movie. The movie dated maybe the beginning of like 2001 or maybe the end of 1999, something like that. Ralph Fiennes, he did that movie. It's a very it's a nice movie. Of course, for Russian who knows by heart Eugene Onegin is very difficult to accept something, but that was very nice. I recommend you. The name of the story, the movie is Eugene Onegin, and Ralph Fiennes, of course, is the English patient. Here he is a Russian patient and plays that Russian noble guy who is Eugene Onegin. So anyway, where was I? So the very first tale is written by Alexander Pushkin. So Alexander Pushkin, of course, he was doing all this adult stuff, and he was very famous back in his time, and he also he was involved in politics because he had his own ideas about how Russia is supposed to function as the state, and that's why he had some very hard relationship with the Russian Tsar houses. He was exiled a few times, not hard exiled, but still, when you are taken away from Moscow high society life and being sent to south of Russian Empire somewhere. It's not that good. But anyway, but it gave him some time to write. And his fairy tales, if you Google Alexander Pushkin fairy tales, you can find the books on Amazon in English. Those fairy tales are translated into English, and those are. I used to have a book, and today before the stream, I was looking for my packed office that I brought from work, and apparently I gave it to one of my students, and that book got lost. And I want you to feel the feel the rhythm and how it goes, even the translation into English. I'm not going to read you more, and I mean lots of it, but I want you just share it with me. I want to, I mean, to share with you, and you please um, listen to it. So the name of the fairy tale is this long and goes like this: The Tale of Tsar Saltan, of his son, the glorious and mighty knight Prince Guidon Sultanovich, and of the fair swan princess. Look at that. That was the title. And in Russian is that long. Yes, that was the title. And Alexander Pushkin, yes. And let's start. And these are, what do we have? We have three fair maidens over here, and they're sitting, and this is the Tsar Saltan. And let's see. Three fair maidens late one night sat and spun by candlelight. Were our Tsar to marry me, said the eldest of the three, I would cook and I would bake. Oh, what royal feasts I'd make. Said the second of the three, were our Tsar to marry me, I would weave a cloth of gold, fair and wondrous to behold. But the youngest of the three murmured, if he married me, I would give our Tsar an heir, handsome, brave, beyond compare. At these words, the chamber door gently creaked, and lo, before these three maidens' very eyes stood the Tsar to their surprise. He had listened by the gate, whither he'd been led by fate, and the word that he heard last made his heart with love beat fast. Greetings, maiden, fair, said he, my Tsaritsa you shall be, and ere next September's done, see that you bear me a son. As for you, fair sisters too, leave your home without due. Leave your home and follow me, and my bride that's it's to be. Royal weaver, you I'll make, you as royal cook I'll take. Then the Tsars strode forth, and they palace-wards all made their way. That's how, that's the translation. I think it's a very nice translation. What do you think? Tell me. It's a really very I love this fairy tale. I really do. That was that I prepared for you. That is my Matryoshka. I love my Matryoshka.